Hey peeps, this is Kizo. Welcome back to the crucible of all horrific DBD debates. Is Ken Kaneki OP? Well, yes, as declared by the popular mandate and by yours truly. However, instead of going for preconceived vibes and one-sided talking points, we will instead just talk about everything wrong with the newest arrival into the fog. I will also suggest remedies as I see fit. Besides that, I will leave space for further discussion. This video has timestamps and is split into sections. Feel free to skip to what you're interested in. Subtitles are available. Without further ado, before we get into direct balance and design issues, we have to tackle something else. Kaneki has an immensely buggy mechanic that buffers his successful target for around a second. If you move your camera, move across the map, move to a different zip code, but you press your input within that buffer period, you will snap to the original target. Coupled with auto-aim, which we will discuss later, this means you can hit survivors you didn't even know existed while missing them completely. It shouldn't exist. First big design issue for Ken is the auto-aim. It's so immensely generous. Should you have a survivor within somewhere 60% of your screen, you will most likely snap on them. This makes it far too easy to hit survivors. This also makes it far too difficult to not hit survivors. It simultaneously ruins the skill expression and plummets the skill floor. The developers might have intended to not make it the skill shot, but currently it's a skill shot to not hit a survivor. Anyone should see how this is an issue. Second big design issue for Ken is the deep wound. There is precisely no reason he should apply it. Currently it makes both MFT matter for him, which is making killer players cry worldwide, so clearly it's bad. Besides that, paired with insane range and ability, can come back to tunnel insanely quickly, because the attack will invalidate most anti-tunnel with the mending status and also hold them in place for a bit. Speaking of holding people in place, why does he do that? It's just wasting time for both sides. The killer is wasting time letting survivors for looking around, while the survivor is just forced to sit there and wait for animation to play out as well, instead of playing. It's awkward and janky at the best of time and leads to frustration. Frustration is also what a lot of people will feel regards to their pull-out game, specifically in Kaneki. He can hold his power with very few audio/visual cues twice for the same length that Wesker can with Egg just once, while also requiring far less aim. It doesn't make much sense. He's able to just walk around at almost regular speed for a few business days where we stand the Kusi out with basically no punishment. Wesker also can bolt pounds, like Morven can off Ghoul, but his speed is pretty mid. Meanwhile, Ghoul can just be there yesterday, making plays possible on almost every pound in the game. He also doesn't telegraph this fairly, as half the time he doesn't attack, half the time he'll just vault over a pound in a second. Unlike Wesker though, he can also hit you across the map faster than any other killer in the game with his hit scan ability. Its range is massive, and with hit scan is a nigh on guarantee to dome your head harder than an aimbotting Huntress. Finally, the biggest and hardest to solve issue for Kaneki is the cooldown. After he exits his sleep, he slides notably and almost instantly is ready to M1 you. It's an incredibly frustrating but tricky to balance part of his kit. He can only do his flashy plays thanks to it, but then it also makes his catch-up M1 brain dead on a good 70% of tiles. So what can be done for Kaneki? If we're looking to keep him fun and skillful, while also making him more fun to verse. Well, it's tricky. The first changes off the bat should be removing Deep Wound and the Guard Freeze. This will immediately lower the frustration points and not notably affect his power. Next up, we'll have to reduce the auto-aim and the buffer period drastically. This will raise the skill floor and ceiling for the killer while making it easier to get flashy plays for. We should also make the audio cue for him coming out of power louder and have the time he can spend between rounds. You shouldn't be forced to consult astral charts on whether or not he is still in power or not. Also, drop his power range by around 25% with hit scan. It shouldn't have the highest range of anything in the game. And finally, maybe, big maybe, tweak his cooldown on power cancel/end. Increase by like 0.005 seconds. You gotta be careful of that. This is a tricky spot to balance and might not even be needed if our aspects being tuned down proves enough. Kaneki is currently wildly overtuned, and he takes almost no effort to execute on that power. The changes I am suggesting are unequivocally a nerf, but his peak potential won't be drastically reduced. What will be much harder, however, is getting insane results if you were born yesterday. If you get good at the killer, these changes shouldn't affect you. But they will make the survivor experience much, much better. That's the goal, and that's what should happen. He shouldn't be gutted, but he should be brought in line and not dominate the entirety of the roster with a fifth of the effort required to play them. Discuss in the comments respectively why you agree, disagree, or comment if you like cheese, especially that last one. Like, subscribe, and do short the New York Stock Exchange. I bet you do, peeps.